Welcome to episode 54 of our board gaming podcast, A Master's Degree in Rolling Terribly. I'm your host, Eddie, and as always, joining me is a man who's a little bit alright lately, as we've clicked really well and have been on our best behavior as we plan out amDirt's schedule for the next 15 years. Gaz! Say hi, Gaz.
Hi guys. A bit of all right.
Yeah,
That's
you're a bit of
I mean
alright.
that's in context a really high compliment,
Yeah, I think
right?
so.
You weren't lying when you said I may get a second compliment today.
Just before we started recording, I complimented Gaz, and he's like, "Oh, that's nice. Hey, play your cards right, you'll get a second
I
one."
might get a second one. Look, I couldn't have predicted maybe a bit of all right would be it, but thank you. I appreciate that.
Hey, you're
And
welcome.
yes, we are. We're planning out the rest of our amDirt conquering of the world, one
Yeah,
episode at a time.
yeah, we been recording a fair bit lately. And trying to bring as much content as possible in what little time we have, which is proving to be sometimes incredibly difficult with our work schedules. And I don't want to rah into all of that, but no, every time we sit down and we have a recording session or we have an idea or a powwow or, a top 10 or anything like that, both of our energy really picks up and, we love to do it. And,
Yeah.
it's what's
Well,
driving a lot.
let's give people a bit of a snapshot into the future. Hopefully, no spoilers. But we did today record our monster tier list for year two, which will be released sometime in the future. So don't start clicking refresh on the YouTube channel. It's not coming up anytime soon, but it'll get there. But funnily enough, there may be a bit of controversy here because one particular monster that's in spotlight at the moment on the Frosthaven Discord, Gloomhaven Discord, not Discord,
Reddit.
sorry, Reddit, Reddit, where people are discussing is quite hard. One of the hardest monsters, really earns the spot of like a tough monster. I'm pretty sure we almost put in the bin. So, I mean, we've never claimed credibility, right? Or that we know what we're talking about.
We need to be
But
clear. We didn't see that and then do the review
no,
and the thing
correct.
and all that.
It's the other way around. We finished recording, and then I saw it and went like, "Oh, everyone seems to think this is a really hard monster and is really well designed." And we're like, in the bin.
Yeah. It's a
So,
little bit awkward, but yeah, we'll see. We already got flamed a little bit for our last one, so
mm.
we've moved things around and we'll see what happens, right?
I mean, it's in the spirit of amDirt just to be wrong about everything, right?
Mm.
But that's kind of how it is. We get the rules wrong and we don't know what we're talking about. Yet people keep listening. So thanks, guys
That's
and
true.
girls.
There is another podcast out there that's about being wrong, right? Like very wrong. So
Very wrong.
we can't be too wrong because
No,
we don't want to go over
get
there.
sued.
Yes.
Hey, we're gonna get like a takedown notice. Hey, hear you guys are talking about board games of being so wrong about them all the time. Right?
Yeah.
You gotta start getting things right. Otherwise, we're gonna have to get you to yeah, stop what you're doing. So cease and desist.
Yeah. We also just uploaded our unboxing. Now, this is an awkward timing moment because,
Unboxing.
yeah, it was
Oh,
unboxing,
sorry, yeah,
reboxing,
for those in audio land, I'm doing the inverted commas, like the
unboxing.
quotation marks.
Yeah, because it's awkward to unbox something that was already opened. But
It's like
maybe there's a
regifted.
market for that.
It's it's a regifted Meteor.
That's true. I get sloppy seconds of the media, and I recorded an unboxing, which unfortunately I actually uploaded it, edited it, and stuck it on YouTube. And then I was like about to hit publish, and I was like, I can publish this right now, can't I? Yeah, I can do that. All right, cool. And as soon as I pressed it, I was like, crap, I haven't actually announced that I've retired. I know I'm going to retire soon, but I haven't actually announced it yet. Ah, damn it. I was meant to get, well, it's like, I know you got the notification and I know it's appeared and there's my thumbnail and I've gone, well, there you go. It's, uh, people can see that because,
Yeah,
yeah.
I wondered about that because I was posting a little bit in the Discord and I specifically didn't mention that you had picked the Meteor to go with. I just more mentioned that you've been talking about the Meteor
Hmm.
specifically because I couldn't remember if we talked about it or not, or that you were going to or whatever. And then when you posted, I'm like, oh, I must have told everyone then.
Nope.
But
So, yeah, there
quick,
you go.
quick
If you
with that
pay
shit.
attention and you subscribe, you can get spoilers to the podcast through the
Look, it was a
YouTube.
spoiler for me as well. I didn't even know. So
Uh, um, on that train, while we are planning out, tier lists and top tens and all that kind of stuff throughout the year, if there is a video idea or something you'd like to see, we're all ears. So we love getting topic suggestions and ideas. If there's something you actually say, you know what, I really want you guys to break down and talk about, I don't know, the potions or how terrible the trap is or something like that. I'm really slamming into the trap lately. I have no idea why.
You are.
Yeah, let us know. We'll pop it on the back burner and we can definitely work something around it. We love hearing all that. And, I think more Frosthaven content is always good.
Yeah, I mean, if you just want to hear me rant about like PQs for 20 minutes, just throw it in the Discord or send Deddy a message, and I'm happy to do that. Like, I'll tell you all of them and why they're all terrible.
As long as I don't have to be there for it, I'm all for you doing that.
That's all right. Yeah, I can talk like at the camera for 20 minutes about something, and then just throw it on the internet. That's basically what everyone else does, right?
That's true. That's very true. It's very it'll probably go viral. So there you go. On today's episode, we're actually going to be covering scenario 43, the overrun barricade. Now, before we got the recording, I mentioned to Gaz, I gave him a tiny snippet of what we were doing tonight, and he's like, "What scenario did we do?" And I said number 43, and he's like, "I don't know which one that one is."
That doesn't help. That's just a number.
So you get to look forward to what we did and finding out, how you went and all of that in tonight's episode, which is really exciting for you.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and out of the shackles and into the fire. So I guess
there we go.
A bit more obvious foreshadowing. I don't know. I think I
just announced that you'd spoil it
to
everybody. That would have been a great.
Retired.
It would have been a great lead-in, kind of like what do they call a cryptic clue to what we're going to talk about. If you hadn't already just told everybody what's going on,
I didn't tell. It was uploaded. Maybe I can say no. amDirt, the amDirt YouTube channel got hacked, and someone uploaded a video about me for me.
Made by us.
Made by us.
Yeah.
So we're going to start with our outpost phase from last week because we did not do the outpost phase. We started this one with an outpost phase. In fact, we had a good Frosthaven outpost phase sandwich this session. As we start with an outpost phase, we had our scenario and then we ended with the other outpost phase. So we had no section event this time. We had summer outpost event number 11. And do you remember anything about this?
Yeah, I remember everything.
No, you do not. So our good mate, we're gonna, music and all that. Our good mate Pinter came up to us and said that a guard had actually delivered something to him, and he was super excited. It was a package, one that we hadn't opened, and he opened it up, and it was a Brummix antler, one of those horn things that comes out of its head. Yeah, that. It was one of those. And he was really, really excited because, apparently these things are magical or whatever. And he broke it in half and put them near each other and they kind of fused together again. And he, of course, something as important as this, he can't make that decision himself. He will lead it up to the random people that he has met where the party keeps changing and just says, you guys, can you decide for me what we should do with this? And the choices were we could use it as a mutable material for crafting, or we could weave it into an art piece. Do you remember this?
I do.
Okay. And we did choose one of these, obviously. Mm-hmm. And the result of it was kind of cool because we actually got 1 morale, which is quite great. Everyone's happy. We got an item that we already had, which is also really cool because I feel like we've just wasted this antler on an item that we already had access to, which is kind of shit, to be honest.
Yep.
It's not exciting at all when that happens. And we also got a campaign sticker, a Brummix campaign sticker, which I had no idea what that was. And I went back to the sheet and found there's like footprints or something, the collections of them, and grabbed one of those and put that on the sheet. And there's really no reference to any of it, so I'm not too sure what's going on with that. On the actual sticker sheet itself, I think it just shows you the pattern of how they go, and I think there's 4 or 5, and that's it. So I don't know what to take from this event, because all of it was either confusing or shit.
Yeah, or mostly shit.
Mostly shit.
Yeah, the thing that also made the morale shit is it will fall on morale.
Yes.
Yeah, so we
Yeah.
gained nothing, and then we gained nothing, and then we got a sticker.
Mm.
So we don't know what it does, which is
No.
fine. You don't know what the stickers do. That's standard, right?
That's a good
I'm all
point.
for getting stickers because they give you cool shit later. An alternative to like crafting a thing that we already had.
Do you want to know the alternative? Is that
No,
what you're
as
saying?
in it would have been cool. Like,
Ah.
hey, gain 1 morale. If you're already in 4 morale, give the banner spear 1 gold so we can go to the place to actually bless. Like, that would have been cool.
In any other circumstances, I think that would be okay.
Yeah. It would have been fun.
Not for you right now.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I don't know. I think this is the it's a weird situation you can land in where sometimes rewards don't do anything, which is a little bit annoying. But I guess it can't be helped.
Yeah, well, for some.
Yeah, was it random? It wasn't a random item, was it?
No, it was a specific item.
Yeah. So I guess if maybe we got it randomly another way, or we got it through another thing. I don't know. I can't remember.
Well, there is going to be a group out there where this is the best event ever. There's somewhere it's the greatest thing ever because they were on 0 morale and they didn't have the item and they had most of the pieces. They just needed 1 more.
That's
Right.
true. This could be the last footsteps in the footstep journey. And they're like, wow, I can't believe this one came through. Like, let's talk about this one on our podcast and how good it was. Yeah, that's right. You are right. Yeah.
So yeah, we did that. We did the rest of our downtime activities. Now, you leveled up, I believe, and you got unlocked a level 8 card, which is really, really cool. I want to know a little bit about the banner spear card options from level 8. Do you remember this card? I can
That
tell
one
you what it
mid.
was. It was called Sweeping Aid, and it kind of looks like a current, like one of those. It looks exactly like a previous card that you've got maybe at level X.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, look,
What
let's just say I was underwhelmed with my level 8 banner spear selections.
I need someone to maybe there's an extra 2 PS on there. It still does damage, so it's gone from a 3 attack in a slightly different position to a 4 attack with PS2. All right, both of them are mobilized, and both of them use almost identical shapes with the ally and you swapping positions.
Mm.
One you start with, the other you get at level 8. One of them you get initiative 10 with, the other is 73. I need some help here. Not necessarily from you.
No, well,
but
I can't give you help.
why?
Yeah. Yeah, look, I mean, I guess the bottom is very different because I'm pretty sure the bottom is like the heal 2, move 2, or 3, heal 2 or something like that. Look, I'm gonna break down my experience with the banner spear and probably get yelled at a lot by people telling me I'm wrong, but like I'm used to that anyway. And this is gonna be an example of which, like,
Okay.
they were fine, both of the cards. I just probably at level 8, I was expecting. It doesn't have to be like, oh my god, this is now gonna win you the game every time. But
No.
if there's a level of like, I want it to feel good when I do it.
Or different.
Well, yeah, different. I mean, yeah, there's the different part as well. So, um, look, I don't want to go in too far because
No.
like I'll go down a rabbit hole about my experience with the banner
Yeah.
spear, which I have really enjoyed. Like I have had a really good time with it so far. But I'm interested to hear community opinions on, I guess, the progression.
Yeah, okay.
Because that's been, and I think this was a perfect example of this. Like, there's been a few levels now where I've kind of been like, oh, okay, I guess I choose one of these cards then.
Yeah. I know. When it happened and you leveled up and you showed us the options and you kept going on about it, because you showed Phil and then you showed me, and it was kind of like, wow, you're not whinging for the hell of whinging. It's more the initial shock, really. It was just the initial shock. I mean, then you can break it down a little bit later. It's just from a 1 to an 8. Yeah, it just seems a little bit insane.
And I mean, it's in comparison to, like, Phil's leveling up and his card basically on the top and
That's
bottom says,
true.
like, do whatever you want, anytime you want, as many times as you want. And it's not a burn. And then he levels up and it says, now do that, but twice. Right. And I'm like, oh, yeah, anything you want seems pretty cool. That sounds like it's super flexible.
Yeah, you'd love
like-
to do that.
Yeah, I'd love to do that. Like, so, yeah, anyway.
Well, look, hopefully your level 9 ones are busted, and we'll see what happens. We upgraded our logging camp. Now, this was actually our final building. Is that right? to upgrade before we get
final building?
prosperity locked?
Yes, correct. It is our final building. We have no more buildings. None. Oh, well,
Which,
incorrect. We have one now
yes, we do.
because you
This
retired.
this was really bizarre how it lined up this way because it got to the point where we can't upgrade anything. So we relied heavily on our retirement for an envelope to unlock a new building, not someone who retired and we didn't get a building out of it. The only way we were going to progress building something was going to be if I retired, and my PQ was around buildings. So it was just crazy. And because we upgraded the last building, that was the 12th tick I needed for my PQ, which meant at the end of the next scenario we do, I will retire.
Yep. So Daddy's retiring. We have a new building. Also, I believe underwhelmed, very underwhelmed.
Yeah,
I,
we'll get to that when I
oh, will
retire.
we get to
But
that one? Oh, okay. All right.
yeah,
We'll get to. Sorry. I'll hold back my underwhelmedness. Everybody get really excited for what's coming.
can't wait. What do I get? We'll
Yeah,
find
I know. I
out.
mean, it could be amazing. But no, yeah, it was an interesting. So we're coming into that building. We were 7 prosperity. No, there's prosperity ticks off 7. I don't know what you call them. 7 prosperity off being at level 7, and being at level 7 basically gives us almost every single building is
Yeah,
now like at the level 7 mark. So yeah, we kind of
and
are in
really
that space.
expensive.
Oh, ridiculously expensive. Like we basically just upgraded something and built the underwhelming building and almost out of resources. So I'm scared what happens when we get to 7 and everything costs like 10, 10, 10.
Yeah,
Like,
Frosthaven goes bankrupt and
yep,
we reset.
yep.
So we make our way back out. We head towards scenario 43, but first we have a road event. This was summer road event 35. This
I remember
was
it.
a callback.
I do
So
remember it.
back in
100%.
winter, we came across a sword, and it was like sword in the stone, but it was like sword in the snow. And we had a choice to pull it out or wait till summer, and we chose to wait till summer. And that was really cool. So we've now, funnily enough, we've randomly decided to go that same way, that exact same path to come across the sword, because we could have seen it any other time, right? For all of summer, but actually it's the beginning of summer, so it kind of makes sense. We've gone back. Yeah, okay. So we went,
Thematically, it makes sense, but it could
yeah.
have not made sense, and we went back at the end, and we're like, "Oh, we forgot that we was remembering that was there." Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Yep.
And it was really cool because we saw it and it was like, well, what do you want to do? Do you want to grab it from the hilt, the handle, or do you want to grab it from the blade? Which
We do
really sounds,
stupid things.
which really sounds dumb, which
Do
means we had
stupid
to pick
things.
it.
Yep, that's the worst option, so we had to pick that one.
And what we got out of it, because we happened to have a tag name,
Yeah,
a name of some variety, because we had
Armored.
a human.
Armored.
Yeah, because we
An
had
armored
human.
human. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
We got to pull it out and not book ourselves, and we got a new sword. And I gotta say, it's pretty cool actually. The Sword of Mastery. During your melee attack ability, gain advantage on one attack, and for each mastery you have completed, also add one of the following to the attack. You can add +1 damage, you can add a wound or a poison. It's a two-hander and it's tappable. It's a sidewayser. So,
Yep.
yeah, pretty cool. I think we gave it to Phil.
Yeah, we did, and it's funny because it would have been really good on me, but because it's attack ability, right? So it would have hit if I hit 2, 3, 4 things in one hit. It's advantage on all of those and all the other things.
That's
Yeah.
true. Would have been what?
Well, if you add poison, right? You can add, say, for example, add poison. That would add it to everything I hit, right?
No, I think it's during your melee attack ability, gain advantage on one attack.
Oh,
attack.
okay, yeah, that's good. And yeah, an attack is kind of defined by flipping a card, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, okay, cool. So now that we might have gone through that thinking. That's why we decided to give it to Phil, so he can give himself.
And then
advantage.
Phil, by the way, who's got as many items as your crab does, maybe more, was like, oh man, I'm gonna be so rich when I retire because he's gonna sell everything. And there was a part of me that was like, huh, that's a good point. Maybe we should start giving items that no one really cares about to other people. The problem is the Blink Blade can use everything, so you know, makes sense.
Need.
That's right. So, scenario 43, Overrun Barricade. So we head off to where we originally found Crain in unfettered land.
Oh, I
With
remember the scenario now.
there you go. Good work. With Crain apparently with us. Of course, it's one of those things where you go near in an MMO, you go near the quest location, and the NPC just comes charging out of nowhere,
Yeah.
and yeah, they're like, "Yeah, I'm here, I'm here." And he decides we need to reopen an access tunnel. And after admiring the scenery, and he really does, he talks about how beautiful it is underground in a weird thing, and the narrator even points out how weird this is. Apparently, the unfettered become aware of our presence. No way. Who didn't? Oh god, didn't see that coming.
Been at war with
Crane,
them for like a year.
yeah, and they've been
Was the
attacking us every week, by the way. So
constantly every week. Yes. Yeah.
unfettered, not Algox,
No,
not
always
lurkers.
unfettered. No, no, we're done with all that. They've been attacking us, and when we go in deep into their territory, we're surprised that they're ready for us. Yeah.
Mm. And you know what's going to happen? Actually, we're gonna eventually clear this, which means they're not going to attack us anymore. But we've already used all their cards up.
Yep.
Crane then says, "Stand fast, my friends. They cannot stand against us." Sure. The narrator then responds that the sentiment is touching, but you can already tell this fight will be far tougher than any you've faced yet. Do you reckon the
No.
writers are individual for different scenarios and they just one up each other? So when they use a line like that and they're like, this is the toughest one you guys are gonna face yet.
Yeah.
The others don't check the writing. So they're gonna go, but no, ours is the toughest one. And they always one up each other based on how grim and dark and how against the odds the scenario is about to be.
Yeah. There's no way the writer had any idea what this scenario was about.
No. Our scenario goal. The scenario is complete when all characters escape.
Because we love escape. Every 50% of the scenarios we do each week have to be.
It's amazing that we had maybe a couple at the start, like the polar bear one at the beginning, and they were so rare. And now it's all we see, just escape boss, escape boss. It's just escape boss. At the end of that round, we read a thing.
Oh, hang on. Twist.
Whoa.
Boss mechanic. Kill the boss and escape.
Ah, or escape into a boss. Or the
Yeah.
boss escapes and you lose.
Sure. Scenario is lost when the
Oh,
boss
damn.
escapes. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that could be pretty cool.
Yeah, okay. Actually, it could be actually. I hate that my brain automatically just jumps to dumb stuff.
No,
That's
that's
why
great.
I need to
That's
make a
where ideas
game.
come from.
That's true. Dumb places. Special rules. Place a number token on each character board. These represent Super Saiyan powers. Any character with a face up, it doesn't say that. Any character with a face up token may forego a top action by discarding the token instead. By discarding the card, right? So you forego the top action of the card by discarding the card, and you flip the token face down to perform, for our scenario level, an attack 6 targeting all adjacent enemies with Pierce 5, which already sounds bullshit.
Mhm.
Or you can do an attack 8, range 5 with Pierce 3, pull 3. So you can either do a giant AoE attack, which already sounds ridiculous, or a single attack at a higher level, and a bit of pierce and pull. Whenever any character long rests, they can flip their face token back up, and obviously they can do it again in their next rest cycle. DPS Sweatlords K go. Now, this is saying that there's going to be like 15 steel like automatons like in the next room or something, right?
Yeah, well, that's what the narrator implied, that this was going to be super tough, the toughest thing we'd ever done. We have these Super Saiyan powers to kill everything with pierce and damage and, peel, peel, peel. So, yeah, I mean, you'd expect this just to be an army of those steel
Yeah.
automatons. Automatons?
Automatons.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Wolves.
Challenge card. Dominating presence. So we drew 3. One of them was dominating presence. While any elite enemy is present on the map, all normal enemies of the same type gain shield 1. We decided to keep this one. Just shield 1, sure. We already know we're going in with token pierce.
Well,
Right?
the
Among
other
other
thing as
things.
well was the starting room was all only elites. So
It
we were
was.
like, oh, okay, maybe it's all just elites. And then because this was only granting normal enemies the shield.
That's right.
So we
If
were
there
kind of
was
like,
a elite version on the board.
yeah. So like, oh, we could probably get away with this.
Definitely. And then we did then the next one was Hungover, which increase all characters' initiative values by 10.
I love it. That's so good.
I love anything that messes with initiative. Can you imagine this with the reverse order one?
Yeah, it'd be great. I'm hungover and now I'm better at everything. Like,
How'd that work?
because it increases your initiative by 10, right? And
Yes.
all the other one did was just you put them in order backwards. So
That's true.
I again, yes, it's just coincidence, but I don't know. The ones that mess with initiatives just seem to be the most fun. They seem to be the ones that like they're the least screwy, but they have the biggest impact on how everything just goes together.
Yeah.
You know, like my 6 became a 16, so it was no more it was no longer guaranteed to go first.
Yeah.
So that kind of messes up a little bit of what you think is certain.
And my delay melody went at 100.
It was like over 100, wasn't it?
Something like that, which was interesting. The Xhaven Assistant app didn't go that high, so I think someone I found the guy in Discord and also in Reddit. I'll get him to adjust the app to accommodate for this one challenge.
Yeah, challenge. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was really cool. Again, it was simple but cool, and it changed a fair bit.
Yeah. So we actually picked those two. There was a third. The third was Phalanx, which we didn't take. Each enemy gains shield 1 while it is adjacent to one or more of its allies. And it was kind of like we could give or take any of these, really.
Yeah, I think I think why we didn't go with that one is we thought it was going to trigger all the time. There was probably going to be heaps of mobs, and we were fighting robots, so they had a bunch of shield anyway. So while we had our Super Saiyan Pierce mode, not all of our attacks were going to have Pierce. So rather than give everything shield 1 on top of what it had,
Yeah.
we were kind of like, all right, let's go with the other two.
And the automatons have shield already, so we don't want to add to that. And then giving ruin machines, there's 10 of them potentially shield as well, and the bolt shooters, nah. Our pets for the evening were the brand new Hound,
Wolf.
Lunacy, and we had Stu, the Forest Imp.
So just a quick chat on the lunacy card. Have you got it in front of you?
No.
From what I understand from memory, it's like basically like add 1 to an attack if you have an ally next to your target. That's roughly what I feel like it is. That it just seems quite like hoops to jump through for a +1 to attack.
Yeah, it does. Like it's based on allies, right?
Yeah, but I don't think it increases by 1 for each ally, does it?
No.
It just adds 1 to your attacks. And maybe it's for the whole round, so it could be
attacks plural.
Yeah, it could be attacks, which is that's pretty cool. But if you had a pet that just said every player or character adds 1 to their +1 to their attacks this round, that would seem good, but not busted, right? That's basically everyone gets a power potion for this round, which is kind of like everyone gets a stam potion, and there's a whole bunch that are equivalent of that. It just seems weird that there's this extra hoop to jump through, but you don't gain an extra benefit for it.
Yeah,
I don't know. There may not be I assume that there is not a pet that just gives you +1 to attack, because otherwise this would be worse. But yeah, it seems a bit of a miss there for not giving like a slightly more bonus for needing to hit that kind of
requirement.
Requirement, because like this is one of the pets that probably not everyone's going to get to make use of in that turn. Most of the other ones, like Stu, everyone heals 3. Whatever the others are, you loot or you grab cards back or whatever. Everyone has the opportunity of using that.
Yeah.
But this one seems a bit more niche, which is
but you go in there knowing it and planning for it and knowing what you need to do to make it work. Because ultimately you for a fact that you got formations and all that to land, so you need people in certain positions. I think it'll be more like a group effort of, hey, let's set up for a good lunacy round.
That's true, and I have to keep remembering and remind myself that the rules aren't that you have to randomly select them.
No.
People get to choose, and they would just not choose this if it wasn't going to be any good. Or is it, nah.
Can you remember forever ago, we were going through house rules for this game, and we were going through the back of the official rule book, and it was like, There's the hardcore variant. There's this variant. The goal of us is to get an amDirt variant in that book.
Yeah, actually, it's a good point. I mean,
And just
we like poo-pooed so many of those house rules when we went through it, and we've just created all these extra ones that I just made the game harder. So
yeah, and I just say if you're an idiot, you can try these.
yeah,
Basically.
if you want the game to be slightly harder but with no benefit at all, give this a crack.
Monster combinations. We had robotic bolt shooters, we had ruined machines, and we had steel automaton. I don't know why this has got so hard to say all of a sudden.
I don't know. It's like lemon.
Yeah. Whoa.
Say lemon.
No. Lemon?
Just keep saying it.
No, I'm not doing that live. I'll do it later. Initial thoughts, guys.
Yeah, it seemed fine. I was looking forward to heaps of shit to fight. That's what I was looking forward to. The starting room had a bit, not heaps, but it had a bit. I wasn't looking forward to robotic bolt shooters because if you listen to our new monster tier list once it goes live, you'll realize that we've put them up a bit because we've
In a
been
bin.
booked by them a fair bit. But yeah, I was looking forward to it because it seemed like a fun kill, like gauntlet, basically.
Yeah.
We've had the escape ones we've had have seemed more attrition. This one seemed more fighty, right? Like you're gonna, which I guess is attrition in a different way. But what I mean is the couch one, for example, was like you're gonna have to make sure that you keep track of your breath. You're gonna have these the deep terrors just shooting shit at you everywhere. You got to push this couch along and get it through. Like all of that stuff was like a puzzle, but also it's gonna drain you as you go. This one just seemed we just got to bash our way through, and I was kind
Mhm.
of looking forward to that because small amount of rooms, large amount of monsters, like maximum amount of damage. We've got these big AOE things to blow everything up, so there's got to be heaps of shit, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I was. I was like, yeah, this sounds like it's gonna be just a brawl, and that sounds fun.
Well, the fact that the special rules are giving you tools to assist with it, I was expecting an absolute bloodbath. I was expecting you're against the odds. If you didn't have this token rule thing, you would struggle. You would almost maybe can't even do this. It
Yep.
is a core part of how this scenario works.
Yep.
And that is the reason why it's there. So that's pretty much what went through my mind. This automatically forces you to long rest because that's the only way you get the token back. No
Yep.
more short resting, ultimately. Right? So I was waiting for that risk reward kind of feel. And then, again, with the escapes, I love escape scenarios. I think they're great. I think they're high pressure and they're really well done in so many situations. I can't stand them on the Shackles. And because we don't move, right? We barely move and it annoys the hell out of me. We prefer to blow our load everywhere. We want to blow all our persistent cards and our, lost cards and all that kind of stuff. I want to play 10 rounds of Delayed Malady. I want to exhaust. The class looks like it's got exhaust built into it, right?
Yes.
And escaping doesn't allow me to do any of that. It means I have to play conservative. It's very frustrating. And what a way to go out on my final scenario and as the Shackles in an escape scenario.
Yeah.
So that was just what was running through my head at the start. And it was kind of like, well, we got to do it anyway. But hopefully it's going to be like an absolute bam smash, amazing scenario.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What happened?
We had our first room. It was L-shaped. It was interesting. Like you said, we had 4 elite ruin machines. We had 2 elite bolt shooters and 1 elite steel auto. And I went in auto, yeah. I went in and I played the bottom of penance, which was really, really cool. I got surrounded, Perry Piper style, by the autos. No, sorry, by the ruin machines.
Yep.
And I actually threw out an attack just randomly on one of them. And what makes this remarkable and memorable was that I pulled a modifier card that I hadn't seen yet, even though I picked it forever ago, which was a -2, curse twice. And I was like, oh, that's amazing. I got that off first for then me to get smashed by 4 ruin machines. 2 of them missed, and the other 2 pulled like -1s. And here I am going, oh, wow, that really wasn't that bad. This then set up Gaz to do one of his formations for some personal
my new
reason.
level 8 card that I was complaining about like 10 minutes ago. That was So it was really cool, and I think we kind of looked and planned that a little bit. I'm like, oh, if you go there, they're all going to come at you, and I should be able to get this thing off. And yeah, you did whittle them down with your Retaliator, and I went up and I hit them all reasonably hard, and they basically that was the first room pretty much done.
Yeah, pretty much. While that was all happening, I mean, Phil and Mark did their own thing. The steel autos and the robotic bolt shooters didn't do anything because they couldn't
Yeah.
reach us. So it was like, okay, cool, we'll just clean these guys up and then make our way over. Now, something I noticed in this first room was that the special rules around the token, certain DPS classes like are looking for the perfect opportunity to blow their token. And we left one ruin machine that was still on like 6 health, and people wanted to keep advancing to the rest because they wanted to clean up more people with the AoE. It was like,
Yep.
are you guys dealing with that? And I'm like,
Yeah.
yes, I'll deal with it. It's
Yeah,
fine.
we'll just kill it. Yeah.
And then Mark jumped in, used his token. It was great. Phil went, I was going to go there, but Mark beat him in initiative. And then Phil had to use a slightly less, impactful token, but tokens were just flying everywhere and everything was dying.
So, a word of advice to increase the fun level within your group if you're doing this scenario: if you don't normally track DPS, track it for this one,
Track
right?
it.
And then get like, I don't know, a candy, an ice cream, $20, whatever, and put it at the top to whoever does the most DPS. Because the guarantee, right, and we will get to this, that the scenario is not all that hard, right? But it will make it more fun because everyone will start fighting over topping DPS and trying to maximize their Super Saiyan abilities.
I'm almost certain Phil long rested more than he has in any other scenario just to get it
Every
back up.
100%. Everyone only long rested. Yep.
I
That's
think
it.
Mark was doing one of his first ones and feels like, I'm on my fourth, or made some comment about that. So yeah, look, if you want a group to do something, just add a little incentive in there and they'll do it.
Yep.
Went into room 2. Now this was what the whole scenario was named after, the overrun barricade. There was a 2 hex barricade in the center of this room,
It
right?
was overrun. That's why I
Oh,
was only one of them.
it was 100% underrun, because we had 4 bolt shooters around the room spread out, and we had 2 steel autos next to it. That was it. That was the
Yeah.
overrun barricade that
Yeah.
we were so worried about. And the bolt shooters were normal. They were normal
Yeah.
in a 4-player game.
Yeah.
Which there wasn't even one elite, which meant the challenge card for the shield didn't even kick in.
Yeah, that's what's hilarious. Like 2 elite and 2 normal would have made it harder than, obviously harder because there's 2 elite, but it would have made it way harder than, I don't know.
So, yeah. So Mark's playing the fists. So he made a little slip and slide. He's been doing that a lot lately, and it's really fun until you want to move one step forward and you end up sliding into the room, which is where I was at. I also actually, before we entered this room, I had a real conundrum actually, because I had 4 health and I was kind of torn in my head. I have a battle goal that required me to open a door and kill something, or kill something and open a door. And I was like, do I do this? Do I not do this? It's not worth obviously exhausting and making it harder for us to, we don't want to redo this one. What do I do? And then I realized I'm technically finished, like I'm retired. So I needed still 2 ticks to finish it off, but what's the point? I'm about to, and Gaz was like, it's not worth the risk. And I was like, no, you're 100% right. So I parked it aside. So, no battle goal there. Because when you retire, who gives a shit?
Pretty much.
I'm a little bit terrified of the bolt shooters, which again, we cover in our tier list. So there were 4 of those that were normal, and I was on 4 health, and they could multi-target and shoot me through a doorway. So I was a little bit scared of what was going on there. And then we head inside to the room. Everyone heads inside, and it was a massacre. And I actually feel bad.
Yeah. I mean, even though they have no soul because they're robots,
Yeah.
I feel
Tokens
like if anybody, like, I feel like Anakin at the Tusken Raiden camp, like,
yeah.
just
Tokens came back up. I threw mine. I decided to throw mine. I threw it at a steel auto, a crit, and the thing just
that's
fell over. I was like, oh, okay. There's one
Yeah.
down.
That's
It
great.
was
Yeah.
overkill.
I did the same because I think I hadn't gotten in a position to use it, and I had 2 cards left. So I was like, I mean, I could move and do this kind of minor attack, or I could move and do an attack 8, like with Pierce 2 or whatever it was. It's like, seems heaps better, right?
Yeah, it was like, it was, you see someone do it, you're like, oh, can I have a go? Or boom, oh yeah, that was pretty good. That was pretty fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, the room 2 was just overkill, and the underrun barricade was no more. But that wasn't the end of the scenario. We had a third room, and we went into the third room because we were really bored of the second room already. And we had 5 ruined machines, 2 were normal. Oh, so the challenge card kicks in. We had 2 autos and 2 A spots. And we had a new special rule. At the start of each round, spawn 1 ruined machine at either of the A spots. And they're elite for us. And each A spot also represents an escape hex. Okay, so that's the end right there. We can see it, and it was like, oh, okay, this is pretty cool. A note: I'm playing Shackles. One of the things that I'm building my whole thing around is delayed melody. I had not used delayed melody yet, which is really uncommon for me. Normally, I will either use it early, but I didn't need to. Everything was dying, so I was saving it for bursting at the end. And now we're in the last room, and I'm like, well, I may as well start doing it. So it gives you an idea of kind of how things were going.
Mm.
I basically DM'd in this room. I kind of went through the motions, and then I actually just wandered outside.
One thing of note coming into this room is that I'd managed to, based off my first action, we talked about right at the start where Deddy went up, did retaliate, got hit by everything, and I moved up and did a formation. Doing my level 8 card was actually I hit 3 targets. And for those unaware, one of the Banner Spear's masteries is
yes.
use 3 separate cards that hit 3 separate formations that hit 3 targets. Yeah, I haven't really attempted it yet because I haven't brought the cards and it hasn't seemed something that I could do. But because I got that off on the first turn, I was like, okay, I have 2 more cards that do hit multiple targets, like more than 3 or more. So I reckon I can give this a crack.
Do they have to be different formations?
Yeah. Yeah, you got to
Okay.
use 3 different formations. Yeah. So I tried to do it in room 2, but by the time I got in the room, everything was dead. Right? Like I
Yeah.
think there was like 5 monsters alive at the start of my like long rest, and then by the time I got a turn, there was like 1 bolt shooter and 1 automaton, whatever they're called. I was like, oh, okay then. Phil had a turn, so
Mm,
everything died.
mm,
So going into the last room, I was just like, okay, let's see what we can do here. Um, and I managed to do it. I managed
yeah, you
to
did.
yeah. So getting in that last room, I managed to get my other 2 formations off, which felt pretty good. It came down to actually the last turn. I think there was 3 or 4 ruined machines left, and I was standing in a position, and I was like, okay, are you moving? No. Are you moving? No. I need you to stay where you are, and I'll be able to do this. I think as long as they didn't go before me, because I think if it was a weird shape. Most of the others were controllable in a sense, but this one's like a 1 space in front and then 2 along there. It's like a triangle, but forward. It's a weird
Mm,
one, and if they had had a turn first, they would have moved forward and been out of it. So they probably would have been in a line, and I couldn't have done it. Uh,
yeah.
and because we were drunk, right, it meant that the initiative was higher. So, and I don't think I had my 6. So I was probably going at about a 30. So there was a decent,
Mm,
I don't know what the Ruined Machines initiative deck's like, but I was like, there's a chance here that they just go before me. And because I'm drunk, I don't get my mastery. But
mm.
no, luckily they went later. I went first. I did the thing, and yeah, party time.
Yeah, well done. Well done doing that in that exact situation with a challenge card that's intentionally going to make it more RNG against you ultimately with the initiative draw. Now, how many masteries have you completed now? You've done 2 Banisphere, you've done 2 Crab, you did 1 Geminate.
Yep.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That's your
Yep.
5th.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah, I don't know what the other one on the Geminate, I think is shift every turn, which uh sounds like a pain in the ass, but I can't remember that for sure. I'd have to look that up.
Yeah, okay. Now, just quickly on pets, we need to make sure we always reference the pets. We actually did that in the first room when Phil jumped in and wanted to blow his token. He actually turned around and blew Lunacy. It was also not like a situation that anyone else could really take advantage of it, or at least I didn't. I don't know if anyone else took advantage of it.
I don't know. Maybe Mark as well?
Yeah, they were together, I think,
Yeah.
doing their stuff. And then I blew Stu before we went in because we were it was a collective blow. We all blew him because we all needed health going to the second room, especially me because I was the lowest. So I blew the hardest. Um, Now back to escaping. Yeah, nothing else really happened as of note. I escaped. It I was like, move, please move, clear that. And yeah, I
Yeah.
immediately then went straight to unsleeving my cards, and I was getting ready to shelve the shackles whilst everyone started playing XP loot and
Yeah,
all that.
we just
Just a little bit,
farmed
just a little bit.
farmed a
No,
bit of XP. Well, the thing is, right, like I've like most of my burn cards are 2 XP because they're all like summon a thing. And
yeah.
because I'm not doing that in an escape, when we get to the end and we're like, okay, well, we can escape now. I'm just like, all right, let's summon everything. Let's go. So yeah, I thought, well, let's not. And you did then point out though, because it's well documented that I'm probably not retiring anytime soon. That are you really in a rush to get to 9? I mean, I guess in a way, I am, right? If I'm gonna
Yeah,
have to play the character for 5 scenarios too long, I'd rather play it at its maximum power level.
true. That makes sense.
So maybe yes, but also maybe no.
The thing about the escaping on this scenario is because the escape spots are also spawn points, there is a very real chance that the person who escapes last, doesn't get out in time, and then it becomes a little bit like, oh, are you seriously not able to clear one of these things before things get that? Then it becomes an overrun escape, right? That's where things get dangerous and scary.
Well, for me, that would have been an issue because I can't do anything. Like they were the where they were, right, was in like a little nook, right? So they were you couldn't get next to them, I don't think, right? And so if one was filled and I didn't get to the escape thing and then another one spawned and they were both filled, I'd have to rely on I mean, I could probably just wait till one of them moved out and then jump over it and escape, but killing them by myself would have been really tricky.
Mm,
So, I'm glad that didn't happen.
no, same. Others would have to massacre them all over again.
Yeah, that's it.
Um, yeah, so if it wasn't clear we won the scenario, we
Mm.
did escape. Our rewards were 10 XP each. The retiring Shackles, the level 9 Blink Blade, and the Banner Spear, who has more than enough time to max their XP, collectively grown. This was like probably the worst time to get an XP bonus, which we haven't had in such a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
So
so many scenarios of me complaining that I'm 2, 3, or 4 XP off, and then when I'm like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna be doing this forever," it's like, "Have 10."
yes. So good. And we also
Mm.
unlocked scenario 51. I can't remember the name of it, which is a forced link scenario, which we immediately went to and failed.
Oh,
And
so bad, it's real hard. We just, like,
by,
got there and just, like, ugh, it killed us. Done.
and by that I mean we failed and went back to Frosthaven without even setting it up. That's how badly we failed.
So
We
bad, we didn't
just
even know where it was.
no.
We couldn't find it. We were just like, let's like like when you're looking for something and you don't really look, you like open the fridge and you're like, where are my keys? Right? I've lost them, and then you just go sit on the couch. That's what we did.
To those who aren't following along, also there is a reason behind this. It's mostly around Gaz's PQ, which we won't go into great detail this time. But it involves going back and using our temple, and force link scenarios skip that. So we want to take advantage of that as best as we can.
Yeah. And this kind of I was going to talk about it when you were mentioning our weird situation with prosperity and buildings and your PQ and stuff like that. And it's a really odd combination. It's not a bad combination. And I don't think we're not locked at all. But basically, we're in a situation where it's like we have nothing new to build, right? We have one building to upgrade. That's going to retire Deddy, and then Deddy retiring is going to give us our next building that we can then build, and that's what we're going to have to use to get to 7 prosperity. The only other option would have been for me to retire, right? And then that would have unlocked the building, and then because that was originally the plan. When we go back about 5 or 6 weeks, we're kind of and you were like, "Whoa, let's slow down on the building thing because I'm about to retire." We're like,
Mm,
"Okay, that's fine. We'll wait for us to get a new building. We'll sit on like the mining camp or whatever the other one we hadn't built was, or upgraded. We'll sit on that, we'll unlock another building and then we'll use that to retire you, right? Because that makes
yeah,
the most sense. We'll like progress Frosthaven a bit. Um, Also, you were enjoying playing the Shackles, so there's no reason to rush it. But then because we figured out that I've actually been delayed a fair bit and I'm ages away, it was like, well, that means Phil doesn't want to retire. If we are going to wait for me to retire, you would have had to wait another like 6 to 8 like kind of scenarios. And the thing that compounded all that was that I also, in order to get my retirements, we can't do force links. which there we've got about 3 options. One of them is driving forward the unfettered. Another one is driving
One's
forward Phil's
Phil's
PQ.
PQ,
PQ,
which
right?
means
Which
he can't retire.
yeah, correct. Now we're not getting a building from him retiring, so that was never
No,
an option to get that unlocked. But that's what I mean. So it was kind of in this weird situation where like, there's no
super
point waiting
weird.
for me. And I mean, Mark's just called out because his PQ's been a Pokemon master. He's just called out that he's like, well, I'm about as close to retiring as Gaz. So, maybe we should just wait for Mark to retire. But yeah, it was a really weird combination, and that's kind of put us in this spot where we don't want to. I don't want to house rule anything for my PQ, but we kind of decided, all right, how about we just go back after the force link. We can
Yeah,
fail and go that way.
it's the
Because
cleanest way.
yeah, we didn't want to do it because we do like playing things kind of how they're supposed to be done, and the force link's there for a reason. It's kind of to push you, but we're also trying to make sure we don't like massively impact the fun that we're having. And we kind of figured this was an okay compromise.
Yeah. So back to scenario 43. Did you like it?
Uh like yeah, I did, but I feel like if we're putting them in a category of like top 10 best, top 10 worst, and top most meh. Like, nah, that's not fair. This one was fine. It just was super easy, and then they gave us superpowers as well. Like, I'll ask you a question. If we
Yeah.
didn't have the token flip thing,
Yeah.
would this scenario have been impossible?
No.
Would this scenario have been really hard?
Would have been harder. Definitely would have
No,
been
that's not what I
harder.
was like, really hard.
I don't know if it's really hard because
It
how
would have
many
been
good.
harder.
It would have been harder, definitely. I don't know how many amazing. Okay, the broken ability from the two is probably the AoE, right? The AoE 5 damage with Pierce. If you can line that up, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't know how many amazing AoE opportunities we had, right? I don't know how many of those we got off, thus making the scenario ridiculously easy. If we managed to hit all four, at the beginning, if I managed to hit all four ruin machines with it, that would have made that, potentially saving an action to dispose of the remaining ones. Things like that. I don't know.
I think from memory, I reckon there was 3 instances where people hit about 3 with the AoE, right? But also, remember me and you both
Yeah.
shot the steel automaton thing with an attack 8 pierce 3. And like I drew like a -1, right? So I only did 7 damage on my ranged attack, ignoring his shields, but you did like 16 because you crit. So that basically just blew one up.
That's fair.
I mean, and again, we've talked about that. We're basically in the bin as well. But like from a monster type, they're not very hard. But I mean, that's an extra 2 or 3 attacks that need to go into it, while it's maybe doing some damage. But I don't know. I think the having the cool superpower was cool. I just don't know if the scenario was hard enough. And
Yeah.
I wonder if you need to either make the superpower have more restrictions,
Tweak
or
'em.
you just need to make there be more monsters,
Mm.
right?
I think more monsters probably. It would probably fit in with the name of the scenario, the overrun barricade, and I think that would probably the funner way of doing it. The bit more, oh, we're overwhelmed. That's okay. Activate your Nintendo Power Glove and do it. Big cleaves and all that kind of stuff. I think that
Yeah.
might have. I don't know if you'd so much tweak the token ability, but yeah,
Look, I'm just thinking the token ability was too flexible, right? Like you could use the top on any card to do it. So you could again, it didn't need to be an attack card. So maybe aligning the power with the type of attack it is. So A,
yeah,
you
okay,
have to use an attack card. So you're kind of forfeiting a little bit of your power to make it like supercharged. And
yeah,
also, if it's a melee attack, it's the melee one and it hits 2 targets, not
mm,
everything. Right, and if it's ranged, then it's a ranged attack, and if it's both, then sure, you get to pick whatever, that weird edge case. So I just think maybe that tweaking it that way would have made it less powerful, and
mm,
made the opportunity cost of using it a bit more. Or yeah, you're right, just jam another room or a whole bunch of extra shit in there. Um,
mm. Look, this scenario to me was not 52 fleeting permanence, which was my number one terrible scenario of all time, because there were constant fighting, which is pretty cool, but it was kind of bad in its own way to me. I think that's because it's my finale, and I'll always remember it as going out with a character I really loved with a bit
The
of a
whimper.
fizzer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was aggressively meh.
Yeah. That's yes. I mean, that's the saying at the moment, right? Like it was just aggressively mid, right? Like just
Yeah,
absolutely not vanilla because vanilla's good, right?
that's right.
Like
Um,
home brand vanilla. You know, like you're eating it and you're like, yeah, like I know it's vanilla and it's ice cream, so it's not bad, but
no,
there's many other flavors of ice cream I'd rather be eating now
that you store in the cupboard.
on the
Is this an
bench.
Ormy scenario? Ormy is so healthy, even he's bored.
Yeah, he's fine. The only problem Mommy would have here would be the bolt shooters, but we get to choose the targets. So, um,
Yeah. Community. So, did a little bit of Googling and I was like, cool.
is this is this again where we find out that we are completely opposite to everyone else? Everyone's like, "Oh my god, how can anybody complete this? The powers aren't even good enough."
No, but I've only just noticed the name of this actually. One of the first results that came up on Reddit was done by someone in the Gloomhaven subreddit. It was by a user called Mr. Collywobbles.
Okay.
Anyway, they wrote down anyone else struggle in scenario 43? God damn, it took our party of four different attempts and 13 hours to finally defeat it. And we had to knock it down a level or two. We unlocked this one pretty early on in the campaign. We had a level 4 Tinkerer, Cragheart, and Spellweaver. And then I've just gone, this is Gloomhaven. So then I looked at
Sorry,
the rest of
Mr.
the threads.
Collywobbles. We're
Yeah.
talking about the complete wrong game. So that means
Well,
there's an overrun barricade in Gloomhaven.
there's a scenario 43 in there. I don't know if it's over on Barricade.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's really hard apparently. So be
Mm.
careful when you get to that one, everyone.
Yes, but every other thread was for Gloomhaven. So there was absolutely nothing that I could find. I didn't go through the Discord, but there was nothing I could find on this scenario, which leads me to believe that it was fairly straightforward and
Meh.
relatively meh. It
Yeah.
wasn't worth the this is a terrible one. It wasn't worth the this is really hard.
What did you have for dessert last night? I can't even remember. That's how
What do you mean?
my home brand
Yeah,
ice cream was.
yeah. Then you need one of these every now and then. It's a palate cleanser, but normally palate cleansers are delicious. Um, DPS. So always weird because we had tokens in there. So I don't know how much we read into this or not, but Phil did top the DPS at 103, which is pretty high for his blink blade. I don't think he's hit normally that hard. He had 103. We followed it up with Mark on his fist with 63. We followed it up with Gaz just behind him on 62. Mind you, you hit 3 times less than him. And finally, me on 56. And I can see my juicy 16 in there. Damage taken, I took 9, you took 10, Phil took 13, and Mark took 43. And then we round off our healing with Phil took 6, I took 9, I did hit 9 healing, you did 30 healing, and Mark also did 30 healing. That reminds me, I burnt one of my heals relatively early, which is why I was sitting. Oh, no. I used my heal to move because I was in your way. When you were discussing your formation, I wasn't paying attention. So I was like, you're moving like you did. And I was like, no, I might stay here. You're like,
Yeah. Hang on.
no.
You only took 9 damage.
No, I took 32. Sorry.
Okay. That's what I was
I
gonna
don't,
say. That's
I
weird
don't,
because you went down to 4 very quickly, and I'm like, you've got more than like 13 health, right?
no, I took a lot. I
Yeah.
definitely took a
Okay.
lot. Mark hasn't given me the charts yet, even though he asked for the photos of the damage. So I'm running off the charts,
One job.
which is handwriting. So take that, Mark. We had our that was scenario 43 over on
Mm.
Barricade, done and dusted in the books. We had our outpost phase. It was summer outpost event 31. Do you remember this one?
No, no idea.
Unfettered attacked. So
Oh, that's right.
the
That's why I didn't remember it.
tunnels. It was very fitting actually because we just came from tunnels,
We
and then a
did.
tunnel spawned in
They
Frosthaven,
were like, take
and
this. The
yeah,
Technodrome's coming for you.
that's what I was thinking. I couldn't get the words out. Yes, Technodrome.
Yeah. I
From
can't
Ninja
remember what
Turtles.
the drill things were called though. Like,
No, I don't remember. The little robots. Oh,
no,
you
the
mean
drill
the
things
big
that they
one?
came up in, like they
Ah,
came up through the, and then they'd all pop out.
do they have a name?
Um, I mean, everything's got a name, right?
Yeah, okay. Anyway, So it was kind of fitting that this
Transport
all happened.
modules.
Oh, okay. No, I wouldn't have
That's
gotten that.
yeah, no,
So a
that's
transport module came up through Frosthaven, and the little rats. What are they called? Little Baxter rats.
mouses.
They're mouses. That's it. Um, so we had to make a decision as to how we were going to defend this, and the two ways we could do that was actually you can. Oh, this
Well,
was actually
from
rather
memory, the
amusing.
options were like
Attack
stay
the
and protect
machines as they
everyone.
climb out of the tunnel,
Yeah,
or
or Leroy
leap into the
Jenkins.
tunnel. Yeah, leap into the tunnel and fight them underground.
Yep.
And which one's dumb?
Leroy
You can
Jenkins.
sort that out. So, interestingly enough, no buildings were attacked for this particular outpost attack. Instead, you get to choose a character, and that character starts the next scenario with damage X, where X is twice the number of targets that were not successfully defended. And I got nominated because I was retiring, so why not?
Yeah, this was an interesting topic, right? Because this one specifically calls out character. The other
Mm,
ones where we've had this instance was it said all characters start the next scenario with wound, I think it was, or 2 damage. So we were like, well, that just says anyone who starts is going to have this negative effect.
yeah.
Whereas with you, we're like, well, yeah, it's calling out a character, and you
Choose
are a
the
character.
character, the Shackles.
That's it. And
Right.
now next time the Shackles gets played, actually maybe that
We have to remember that. Yeah, that's gonna be Mark.
the,
Or
the
whoever
level
picks
the
it
level
next.
3 Shackles is going to get rolled by someone in like 3 months, and they're just going to insta give when they start.
Yeah. And then yeah, we had a regular attack. I must say some of these attacks, they're not all as vanilla as I thought they were going to be. They're actually mixing things up a little bit, like like the other one where it was a giant attack and you reduce it each time you defend. And now things like this. So yeah, look, they're not super boring. They can mix it up a little bit, which is pretty cool. And then there's a chance that we will draw some of our juicy modifiers, which give us free materials, which is lovely.
Well, to be honest, that's the part that has made the attacks interesting, is the fact that we have rolling modifiers that give us resources in that deck. So it's got nothing, like, I do like that they're changing almost the target of them. So as you said, one of them was a giant attack. We had to whittle it down. This one was a character was going to get booked for, everything. And we didn't, I think we just drew really well. So you're not going to take any damage anyway. But yeah, that's cool. But like, yeah, it is. It's like, whoa, how many resources can we gain out of this?
Yeah. And yeah, well, I still would like to put a hold on some of the attacks because now we're in summer.
Yeah,
let's not get
like
ridiculous.
beach
That's
time,
usually when the
right?
fun events usually kick in.
That's it. There's the festivals, like people getting married, and I don't know, army and
We're going to
stuff.
get attacked by lurkers over and over again as we're finishing off the lurker quest chain, which, mind you, we're one quest off. We just need to fix that crown. So, need to get that
Yeah.
last piece. Yeah, and then we wrap up the outpost phase with a retirement. So, the Shackles that I named Sally, Sally retires, not in a crab off or a walk out of the camp. She kind of just opened a little weird portal and just poof disappeared. And it was really interesting. We got to put a event into the deck, so it looks like they're going to return via event, which is always fun because it means it could never happen.
Is the
And
crab in the boat event deck?
yes,
Oh god, we're never seeing him again.
probably not. To be
Like, I
fair.
mean, there can't be that many boat events left, right? Because we're almost done with lurkers.
Yeah, but I feel like there's a lot of cards. So there must be more for either the purpose of keeping every campaign really random or there's more boat scenarios out there that we just need to make sure we pay attention to.
Yep. Okay.
So Shackles retires, we get our prosperity, which is really cool. Now the building. Now we open up another envelope. I totally forgot. I was too busy looking at other stuff, and the guy's like, "Come on, what do we get?" And I'm like, "You know what we get? We're getting a meteor." And they're like, "No, no, no. What building do we get?" I was like, oh, "That's right. There's an envelope." I went and opened it. Very exciting. Whenever you get a building, it used to be anyway, and
No.
opened it up, and we got an inn.
Which I thought we already had.
No,
When
we
you
had a
said
town hall and a tavern.
I know, that's what I mean. When you said we get an inn, we're like, oh, sorry, we already have an inn. We don't need two. And you're
Try a
like, no,
different
no,
one.
no, we have a tavern. And we're like, oh, that's right, because they're different enough to have two versions of them.
Yeah, and thematically, it makes sense. You can spend, I think, $2 or something to get any one resource that you need. Now, before you shit on it, Gaz, you have to remember that a lot of the buildings that we would have got. This is a starting 8 or 10. I can't remember the starting. It's a starting building, so it's something we could have had for a long time ago. It could have easily replaced the carpenter. It could have easily replaced, the garden. Even though the garden's probably a lot better. We don't know how much better this gets. There's all these factors into it, and not all of them can be game-changing ones, like the stables, like the town hall, like the tavern, right? We got those three in quick succession, and we were on a real high of, whoa, every building is amazing and exciting now, because we've gone through all the relatively meh ones, and yeah, we've gone back a little bit towards the meh buildings again, and it's fine. It's prosperity, right? Frosthaven. Okay, I can't win you
So
over with the end.
I feel like we've just been like had a false sense of security and hope built up because I was complaining as I do, right? But we were talking about the buildings being met and et cetera, et cetera. And I remember people in the Discord and discussion around like, no, they're really good. It's a really good system. You should really love it. And then I think in quick succession, we got the town hall and we got the tavern, right? Which gave us our challenges, which gave us these cool reasons to loot everything. It was all we ran. It was like, oh, okay, I can see this. As it gets, yeah, it's good. Okay, cool. I'm looking forward to buildings. Hey, Daddy, open that building. I want to know what we've got. This is going to be fun. Like how this is going to. Oh, okay, yeah, cool. That's
We
good.
don't.
And I bet it's going to upgrade to say you may spend 2 gold to buy up to 2 resources each.
Oh, can you imagine?
I
That'll
know.
save a lot of our
Imagine
resource
spend
problems.
4 gold for 2 resources, and then probably
Wait, did it say collectively or is it infinite?
no. I don't think it's infinite. I assume it's the same as I assume it's the same as the mine and stuff, where you just spend 2 gold to get a resource of your
Okay,
choice.
we'd have
It's
to
like a
check
better
that
version
again.
of the mine.
Yeah, but what if it wasn't? What if it was like, let's spend 10 gold to get 5 lumber?
Yeah, it's a good point. It could be heaps better. It's still shit,
Okay.
right? And boring, right?
Hmm.
Okay, shit's the wrong
I'm
word. It's
really
still very
trying
boring.
here. Okay,
I know you're doing a great
what
job of it
if
as well.
okay,
The harder though that you push that way, the more I've got to go the other way.
what if the innkeeper is secretly the prison in disguise? Prism.
Yeah, sure. I'm all for upgrading this because we can farm prosperity out of it and hopefully get a new character. 100% I'm up for upgrading it. But this could say a blank card of upgradeness, right? And then be like, or hole in the ground. You have unlocked the hole in the ground. Now you can spend money to build a bigger hole and then get more prosperity.
What if it was sorry, I'm still going down this positivity. What if it was something like the temple? Spend X amount of money, let's say $10, 10, all right? And you could become well rested. Your max hit points go up by 5 or something like that for the next scenario.
Yeah,
Would
that
you find
sounds
that more
really cool.
interesting?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Because that would fit thematically, I guess.
It's
You're
not
well
the
rested.
it's not the potential of the card that's bad, it's what's actually printed on the card.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah. I can't
Like,
really change that. I can't change that. No.
look, it's fine. Like you've the one point you made, which is super valid, is it's an early PQ, and so therefore it's probably in the bucket of these are basic things that you need to have just to keep Frosthaven going. That makes sense, 100%. It's just completely when we've opened it that sucks. It's got nothing to do with the design or anything. It's fine. It's just disappointing because we're kind of again building up and ramping to this stuff, and we want more characters, we want more like cool shit, and now we didn't get one, right?
Mm.
So just means
That's
we
okay.
have to retire more
You're going to
characters.
unlock the cool shit. Okay. Eventually, in next winter, you will unlock the cool shit building, and it's going to be
Eventually in year 4
amazing.
and 84 more
Yes.
scenarios, I will unlock something really cool. Yep.
Yeah. It'll be a hotel.
A hotel. That's it. They'll have a tavern, an inn, and a hotel. Yep.
And then it will close because not enough
We'll be
people
done.
because it's spread out. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about just the shackles and the journey. So began the Shackles quite a while back, was a real struggle at the start, and wanted to play around Delayed Melody. When we saw that now unboxing, when I saw that, in front of me and putting together a deck and playing at level 1, I sort of got a feel for what I kind of wanted to do. The whole Shackles idea between, self-damage and sharing its damage that it receives around it is kind of cool, but also the whole shtick with conditions. Amazing. They're the only ones that want the conditions because they can spread them around, they can transfer them, they can take them off allies that they've never taken them off allies. You can do so many things with the conditions, which is really cool, and I really love that. Getting used to the timings of everything was a whole other kettle of fish, and I am releasing sometime soon my Shackles review, similar to the Snowflake one that I did release over on YouTube. If you haven't had a chance to go and look at it, it's literally just my thoughts and experiences around a lot of the cards and like card choices and all that kind of stuff. And I'm putting together a Shackles one, which I've finished recording. I just need to put together. So that's really cool. What were your general observations of the Shackles from someone who wasn't playing it, who was watching it?
It seemed to be trying to play its own little game.
I think
Uh,
that's fair.
you know, like not own little game like the trap where it was trying to do its completely separate game. Like I'm gonna do these things and I don't really care because you were still influencing everything that was going on there. But you were definitely trying to play your own little puzzle on your character sheet, your timings with delayed melody, also trying to be a fiend for different conditions and things like that. Like, oh, that thing's gonna brittle. Let's go like hug him.
Yeah,
So that was interesting. And I think the other thing as well that we underrated with what you were doing is your health was yo-yoing all over the place, right? Like you did a great job of not exhausting like on a consistent basis. And
yeah,
you were getting hit hard and also eating your own face for a chunk of damage. Uh, but you were just pumping damage out and doing really good numbers. You were disarming something all the time, like, 2 or 3 times a scenario, plus things like muddle and immobilize. So yeah, I think from a player at the game, watching you play it, but also seeing its impact on the game. I think it was a weird support DPS style character.
yeah.
So it was definitely impacting the game, but it was just kind of supporting in some other different ways.
Yeah, I think the DM I've been in my video anyway calling Delay Melody the DM because I got sick of saying it. Is probably the harder version of the character to play, at least just from a purely observation point of view, because the other one just involves a lot of putting persistence up and taking damage and redirecting that damage and just being in the right position. This one was a lot more based on being able to get the conditions, hold on to the conditions, below the conditions at the right time. There were so many headaches in every scenario where that first room and that spawn, wherever I spawn, is trying to work out, is this where I delay melody? Do I do it early? Do I do it late? If I do it early, can I keep the momentum of it up? Because the minute, and we're running around with a blink blade, the minute things are dead, I now have every turn a charge of delayed melodies going that I'm not doing anything with it, which suddenly becomes its own headache. And then I'm praying that I'm rushing as fast as Shackles can to the next room so that I can at least unload more on there. And
Yeah.
that became its own, like you said, mini game. It really got into my head and I enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed it. It just meant that every scenario was its own individual tempo puzzle for me, which
Yeah, it
definitely, yeah.
it seemed to be a little bit like the crab in the sense of ramping because the crab ramps and then you rest and you kind of go back to
Mm,
start. The difference being though that you were all in on a lost card, right? So again, you play delayed melody and you go in and you blow a few things up for 2 or 3 turns, and then you said like if you have a scenario where the room just gets cleared and now we have to move for 2 turns, well, that's it, right? Like you don't have any way around that. Whereas with the crab, it could be like, oh, okay, well, I rest, and I'll just walk a little bit, and then I'll just start ramping again. Like that was all within my control.
yeah,
Yours was in a card it was gone. You couldn't just say no anymore. You couldn't be like,
yeah.
well, that stuffed up my ramp. I guess I'll start ramping again. And I wonder, would you have chosen a different play style if you didn't have the cracked mirror?
I do mention that in my video. No, I probably still would have been very happy to go in with this because I'll be honest with you, the cracked mirror probably only came into effect, I would say 3 or 4 times.
Hmm.
Most times, one round was enough, and then later on, depending on the escape scenario that we were doing, I didn't particularly want to burn another card to then burn another, thing reset of delayed melody. So
Yep.
yeah, I think I would have kept it. I mentioned in this video that there were a couple of cards that I saw along the way that I probably would have changed.
Yeah.
And my reasons why. And I think there's that. But there's also a world where I play this again and I play the other way, which is the complete damage taken. I think there's a lot of fun to be had in that as well. I just personally feel like that method, for me personally, will get tiring faster than the mindfuck puzzle
Yeah.
of what I'm trying to do every time, because every scenario was a puzzle for me, and that's what motivated me to keep going and really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Right? How to
I
maximize
mean,
that.
it's really cool to hear that, once seeing all the cards, you think that there are two viable different play styles for the character, because I think that's really what you want in the characters. You want to be able to have a look and go, there's this play style, and then there's this alternative one that isn't better or worse, it's just different. It's
I think there's a world where I could
unfortunate.
have meshed them. I could
Yeah,
have meshed them
well,
a little bit better.
that's even better when you can have a bit of a hybrid,
Yeah,
right? Like, it's not pick a path and then you know which card you're picking each level because you picked that path. It's kind of you can crisscross backwards and forwards.
yeah.
So again, that's really positive from a design perspective.
Yeah.
Um, and
Um,
it seemed like you had a lot of fun with it.
I
So
did. I did. I'm actually a little bit sad to let it go. I could probably keep playing that class more than I had to endure the snowflake. Because by the end of the snowflake, I was definitely a little bit over it. Now, like, it's easy to say that when I'm not like 6 levels deep into level 9, 6 scenarios deep. But yeah, I think there's a world of playing it more. A couple of the things that I am noticing with the later parts of the snowflake where the enjoyment picked up, whereas the later levels of the Shackles not so much, was attack modifiers. I miss drawing them, and I did draw some, but when I see Phil draw as many as he does on his Blink Blade, or his Meteor, or his Deathwalker, or even you, right? Not Trap, but when the modifier is just an afterthought and you're doing everything else, you do a lot of I do a lot of burst pure damage, which is great, fantastic. It's actually really, really effective to nail shielded creatures and all of that. I do miss the gamble of amDirting potentially
yeah,
by
and
top decking that card.
I mean, the thing is, the modifier deck is part of the progression of the character. You
Mm,
level up, you get new cards, you get new perks, right? Like, that's a entire thing. There's a battle goal system built around these perks. So yeah, unless they're all like passive, do things without needing to interact with your AMD, you're right. You are missing out on that kind of a small element of that by not being able to draw heaps. So yeah, mate, that makes a lot of sense.
yeah. So yeah, we will wrap up the Shackles thing. I look forward to seeing when it does come back out again. Because there may be someone that may want to play that at some stage. Now the weird thing is we welcome back the Meteor. And from a thematic point of view, I'm not too sure how this works. So he left and then he's come back. Now, is it the same guy or is it you're rolling a archetype of character? Because I'm a little bit confused.
It's good.
Do we
Well,
actually
it's
get
got to
the
be
actual
different if it's a different name, right?
Okay, have we actually seen the retiring media event come back yet? Because I can't remember.
I don't know. I have no idea what he did. I assume he just turned back into rocks or something, didn't he?
I can't
Wasn't it
remember.
something like, "Oh, you guys aren't anywhere near as cool as I thought you were. I'm gonna go off and find more cool people."
Okay, that makes sense. I vaguely remember something emo like that. Um, yeah, I was gonna say because if I rolled a meteor and then the retirement thing kicked in, it'd be really awkward.
It would be like he comes back and it'd be like Spider-Man meme, right? Like,
Yes.
like,
Yeah.
but
Okay. So I wonder
yeah.
whether or not they've sped up those retirements so to make sure that doesn't happen, with the exception of the snowflake, who
Oh,
comes back
takes
a
forever.
season later.
I love the idea of that. It's like Bob Jr. comes back. He's like, "Hey, I've come back like I said I would. Friends and allies that we went through." Hang on, who's that guy? But like, oh,
We've
this
already
is
got a
super
meteor.
awkward. We didn't think that you were coming back, so we got ourselves another meteor. He's like, oh, okay. Well,
But
I
I'm the
guess here,
meteor.
have my artifact that I was going to bring you from the locked depths of the elemental plane. See ya.
Yeah, I got you a shovel. No, we don't. The media actually does a lot of that already. Like we don't
Yeah.
really, yeah, we don't really need that. No, very excited to play the media. We had an unboxing. We talked a lot about the cards. We got to see them, even though we've scanned them and seen Phil play with them. We've never actually sat down and read them properly, and it's actually a lot more. I'm going to say a lot more fun than I thought it was going to be. Purely from observation like
Mm.
reading the cards with you and breaking some of those down, which was really really fun.
The way it reads to me is it's going to be like the snowflake, but there's no element of supporting, so you can't cop shit for not doing it, right?
No.
Like it just seems the same form of damage slash manipulation slash self kind of buffing to do
Hmm.
a cool thing where you're going to need to focus on the battlefield and the hexes and what you put on them, but there's no like play birds now, play steady.
No, what I am noticing is that we made light-hearted of the cards that you put out, and then for this round and the following 2 rounds, you take 1 damage. I don't actually have a lot of healing, and I've gone through those cards again when I was putting the video together, and it was letting me read them again as I'm putting them in there, and I'm like, there's not a lot of healing here. I can see why taking the damage could actually be really bad, especially at lower levels, because I mean, yes, without relying on other people. And I also don't know if there's a juicy 6 greater healing potion in the shop or in the alchemy place because I feel like they're gone. Is
Yeah,
that
probably.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
probably.
okay.
Then
Yeah.
there's the three. You can three heal, 3 or 4, whatever the
No one
normal
wants
one
the
is.
3 heal.
Yeah.
Everyone wants the 6 heal. I feel he uses it all the time because he needs to. No. Yeah, very excited. We will be able to play that on Monday. Are we doing Phil's PQ or are we going back and nailing that unfettered force link?
It's up to Phil. He says he's happy to play the Blink Blade for the rest of his life. So
Yeah, he is. Yeah, okay.
oh, I think he's hanging out until we unlock a new character.
We don't know how long that's gonna be, but it makes sense in a way because he's not unlocking a building either. So it's not like we're desperately waiting for him to retire
Nope.
that. So yeah, okay. Yeah,
And
that
he
makes
says
sense.
he's having heaps of fun. So I think we are probably doing more unfettered.
Yeah,
I
okay,
mean,
that makes
surely
sense.
driving through unfettered is going to get us closer to a character than not.
Then the inn, yeah.
Than the well, I mean, we'll upgrade the inn. We should be able to upgrade it twice, actually.
Didn't we already do that?
I think we built it and upgraded it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and it still
What
didn't
was the
get any
upgrade?
more interesting.
Was it
I
crap?
don't
Oh,
know.
okay.
It was
Uh,
crap. Yeah, it was.
Obviously,
It
the
was.
fact that we can't remember the original power of what it did accurately, I
Yeah,
guess sums that building up.
it was do whatever you were doing before, but slightly more. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that will wrap it up for episode 54.
Mm.
Um, yeah, if you want to get in contact with us, jump on our Discord. I'll provide a link. That's probably the best way to do it right now. Thank you again for listening to us. And yeah, we'll be back next week for more. I've
Yeah,
been.
and
Oh, yeah.
just quickly, if you are playing in a group and you're the only one that's listening to the pod, just let your friends know that they should listen too, because we're awesome and terrible at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell them,
Get them.
like, get them on the move the couch scenario. I feel like that episode was a great episode.
I think
Get
it
them on that
was.
one.
A lot of
Yeah.
people have contacted us saying, yeah, like this was peak amDirt. So
Yeah. Do that. I've been your host, Eddie. I've been joining in by Gaz.
and remember, when it comes to rolling terribly, it's all